तत्परम्पर्यय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयाते। ओम योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरी गुरु महाराज की जय। नमस्ते, वणक्कम, स्वागतम, buongiorno, buonasera, buonanotte, shubdinam, shubh arambham, auspicious beginning, shubh arambham. A beautiful word is the swa agatam. Agatam means to come. Swa, may the self come. Swagatam. What a beautiful prayer, as is sung in our music. Swagatam Krishna, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Krishna, Swagatam, Swagatam. May you, as the divine self, that swa, may that come. What a beautiful welcome as compared to the hello. My father used to say hello means watch out, hell below you. Hell below you, hello. I know so many people who, when they say Namaste, Namaskaram, and someone says, what does it mean? I know many Indians who say, oh, it just means hello. It just means hello, hi. We have become a brainwashed society. Thanks to the educational system that has brainwashed us into not understanding our own golden culture. What is Namaste, Namaskaram? It just means hello. What a big difference, chalk and cheese. Today, we are looking at Kona. Kona, which translates as an angle or a corner. You know the English word corner, Kona, corner. You can see how these words have origins. So many English words have origins in Sanskrit that have been hidden because it is not the in thing to have an origin in Sanskrit. You know, if it's Latin and Greek and, you know, it sounds good. If it's Sanskrit, oh my God, you mean those pagan Indians had something worthwhile before we came and civilized them? Kona, corner. Kona, cone. You know, conical. Kona as an angle, as a corner. Creating a cone. A kona, creating a cone and creating a corner. The 8 corners, Ashtadik, 8 directions, are understood as 8 corners. And if you look at the Sri Chakra Yantra, the Sri Yantra, you will find that it has a basic square structure with the 4 corners and then the implied in between. So you have the north, south, east, west, northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest, the 8 cardinal directions, and then you have the center called the Brahmasthana. So you have 8 plus 1, 9. And if you look at the Sri Chakra Yantra, it is made up of basically 9 triangles. Again, our number 9 from Yantra, right? 9 triangles, of which 4 are pointing upwards and 5 are pointing downwards. 4 triangles pointing upward, 5 pointing downward, and the creation of these 9 triangles manifests 43 triangles that are part of the Sri Yantra, the Sri Chakra Yantra. And the Divine Mother, Shri Chakra Rajasimhasaneshwari Shri Lalita Ambike Bhuvaneshwari Shri Chakra Rajasimhasaneshwari Shri Lalita Ambikaye Bhuvaneshwari Agama Veda Kalamaya Rupini Agama Vedam Kalamaya Rupini Akila Chara Chara Janani Narayani Akila Chara Chara Janani Narayani. She is the Narayani who is manifesting the Janani, the mother of Akila Charachara. All the countless universes are manifested by the Divine Mother, who is on her lion. Watch out for her. She rides a lion, okay? Watch out for the woman who rides a lion. Huh? That's a message to all men out there. She rides Simhasaneshwari, and she is established in the Sri Chakra, the Sri Yantra. This Sri Yantra is made up, as I said, of 43 triangles. And how are these 43 triangles composed within that 8-pointed space? They are created by 4 upward pointing triangles and 5 downward pointing triangles. And with a central bindu, a point in the center. So you remember the 8 directions, the 8 corners, the 8 kona, ashta kona, and then you have the center. This is also called Navasandhi. Sandhi means to meet. A meeting point is called Sandhi. And in the day, the meeting point between the darkness and the light is called a Sandhya. And it is an auspicious time where different rituals are done. Sandhya Vandanam. You are doing a ritual which is in praise. Vandanam means to praise. One of the aspects of Bhakti Yoga is Vandanam. We are praising Vandanam, the Sandhya, the meeting point. Sandhya Vandanam. Understanding that when darkness meets light, there is a certain energy, and when light meets darkness, there is a certain energy, and at the midpoint of the day, the height of light, there is an energy, and at the height of darkness, midnight, there is an energy. This is understood as Sandhya. So the Sandhi means a meeting point. In Sanskrit grammar, there are the rules of Sandhi. When A comes together with U, it becomes O. A plus U becomes O. It is one of the Sandhi rules. So Pada, which means the feet, Utana, which means to lift or stretch, Pada Utana, it ends with an A and begins with an U, it becomes Padotana. Padotana. You see the A, Pada, and the Utana, the A plus the U has become O. Padotana. And people say, oh my God, is this a different asana? No, it's the same asana. If you split the words, it is Pada Utana. When it comes together, the rules of Sandhi, the rules of coming together of the 2 angles, the 2 corners, it creates beautiful aspects, which then the A, the Akara and the Ukara become the Okara. Padotana. This is why the Pranava Om is Akara, the A, Ukara, U, and Makara, and the Akara and Ukara, Ukara become O, and the is then. So the A, U, Ma becomes Om. This is the creation of the Pranava itself. And again the Divine Mother, Akara, Ukara, Makara, Omkara Rupini Ambe, Akara, Ukara, Makara, Omkara Rupini Ambe, Shiva Shakti Yai Tigar Babale, Adi Shakti Yai Arul Babale, Akara, Ukara, Makara, Omkara Rupini Ambe, Ambe. The Divine Mother who is bringing together the Akara, Ukara, Makara and becoming the Omkara Rupini, the form of the Omkara, the Pranava itself. When we say Kona, we mean an angle or a corner. Now the moment you have an angle and a corner, you have a perspective. Because each one of us is in our own corner. You know, when people are boxing, they have each boxer has their own corner. Each one of us in the boxing match of life, we have our own corner. And that corner where we are gives us a perspective. What determines the perspective we have? It is determined by the corner in which we are residing. Where we reside creates a perspective based on the corner that creates a certain angle. When you are in this corner, the angle is this. When you are in that corner, the angle is this. When you are there, the angle is here, an angle. The angle of perspective changes based on where you are. And this is why we as human beings can never perceive the truth. We can only have a perspective. Because all our perspective is based on which corner we are residing in. The place we are residing creates a perspective. So all that we have is a perspective. What we perceive is never going to be the truth because it cannot be. Because our truth is all perspectives coming together. Truth, reality, is when all perspectives come together. And now when you and me as a limited individual sitting in one corner, having a certain angle, we say, I know it all. Only what I think is correct. What goddamn egotistical stuff that comes out the rear end of the bovine species. And we kill each other for it. My truth versus your truth. No, it's not truth. It's my perspective versus your perspective. And both perspectives are limited because they are based on where you are residing physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, and whatever other chili you want to add to it. The yogis understood this. The yogis understood everything. That's why they were yogis. We don't understand anything, so we are bhogis. The yogic perspective is one which is looking at all perspectives. And yes, Neeru, the Brahma Mudra gives us this because we open up. We open up our perspective and you grow in perspective and you grow in wisdom. And the more you grow in wisdom, the more you see all perspectives, you stop becoming opinionated. Because to be opinionated, you have to be limited to one point, one corner. And that is why as you grow in wisdom, you start to understand multiple perspectives. And that is why the yogi is one who can understand multiple perspectives and see the light in the darkness and the darkness in the light and transcend the dualities. Dvandva Athita. Dvandva Athita. That is the energy of the Guru. Dvandva Athitam Gagana Sadasha. You have to be able to transcend. That Sadguru who can transcend. The one who has perceived the reality, the Sat. Until you grow in consciousness, your perspective will be limited by which corner, which nook and corner you are on this planet. Your Kona determines your perspective, which is called Drishti Kona. Drishti means to see. So the angle from which you perceive is your perspective corner, your corner of perspective, your angle of perspective. The yogis say, grow in perspective so that all angles become your angle, or you become all angular. You come into the central perspective and uplift yourself, and suddenly you see all angles and you realize why the 7 wise men, not so wise, were looking at different aspects of the elephant, and each one thought it was something else depending on which part of the elephant they were perceiving. We are like that, the 7 blind men. The kona is a corner, is an angle. Now, this is brought into practical reality. In yoga, it is a practical philosophy. Yoga is a practical psychology. Yoga is a practical spirituality. So the yogis said, how can we get all these people to develop different angles of perspective? And hence they created these beautiful asanas that are based on kona, angles. And so you have so many asanas. The kona asana, the angular posture. The trikona asana, the triangular posture. And then you say, it is not enough if you put yourself into triangle, you have to twist your triangle to get another perspective and see it from the opposite side. Pratipaksha bhavanam. So they said trikona, you make it a parivritta trikona. So instead of just trikona, you twist. Parivritta. Parivritta means to twist. In our tradition, we have a concept called paravritti, which means a variation. Parivritta means to twist. Paravritti is a variation. Basically, it means the same. A variation means another angle to it, another type of perspective. So you have the kona, the angular posture, you have the trikona, the triangular posture, you have the parivritta trikona, a twisted triangle to see another perspective, parshva kona where there is the side angle posture, parivritta parshva konasana, and then you extend it, prasarita parivritta parshva konasana. That's a mouthful, which basically means parivritta twisted, prasarita extended, parshva side, kona angle asana. What a beautiful way to bring these concepts right down into our soma, right down into the body, so that every cell in our body starts to develop a new perspective, a new Drishti Kona. You can also do the Hasta Kona, where you bring the hands up and then you go to the side. Some people call that Hasta Kona as Ardhakati Chakra. And yes, Shakti, Upavishta Kona, where you go into an angle and you lie down. When you lie down in Upavishta Kona, you will start to understand the perspective of all the creepy crawlies who are crawling around on the earth, who are lying down on the earth and can just lift the head. That is what you experience in Upavishta Kona, a seated angle. Now you're not seated, you actually lie down flat and lie down. What do? You are lying down flat, like all the other creepy crawlies, the caterpillars and all those creatures. And you get a new perspective of life. What you are doing. And then you have Adho Mukha, Urdhva Mukha, and looking down, looking up in the same Kona. And then you have the bound angle, Baddha Kona, often called Bhadrasana, where you sit and you bring both the soles of the feet together. And you bind yourself into an angle. They call it the cobbler posture. Baddha Kona, bound angle, where all the angles have been bound together so that you get a complete wholesomeness. Baddha Konasana is one of the most beautiful self-contained asanas. And then you lie down in that. Supta Baddha Kona, the reclining bound angle. I have found it called the princess, I think, or goddess pose. Where you bring your souls together, you are sitting, the knees out, and then you lie down. The reclining bound angle. Supta Baddha Kona. And you have a beautiful openness. You're opening up to all the angles of the universe itself. And you have self-contained yourself. By bringing both the souls together, you have created angles. One of the things I like to do with the children when we are teaching at Yoganjali, and we do these asanas related to angles and triangles, I like to ask them, you are doing Trikona Asana. Find how many triangles you are making. How many triangles are you making in the Trikonasana? When you do Parshva Konasana, how many angles are there? What type of angles are there? Acute, obtuse, right angle? What type of triangle? Is it an equilateral triangle? See, all these geometrical concepts are brought alive when the children are given this opportunity. How you are working on this? How you are working on all these asanas to work your body into geometrical shapes, because the geometrical shapes are the base of what is called mandala. Mandalas are not fancy designs to be put on t-shirts. Mandalas are archetypal symbols. They are tapping into the collective subconscious and collective unconscious. It is quite amazing when you look at all of this. The mandalas are being brought into your whole body consciousness. One thing is to focus on them, the mandala dharana. Your body is becoming a mandala. And each of these mandalas is connecting us to the Pancha Mahabhuta, the elements. So the focus of today is the angle and hence the triangle. So the triangle is a mandala. It is called Tejo Mandala or Agni Mandala. Tejo Mandala or Agni Mandala, the fire symbol. Now I'm using the word symbol here. I like to say it is like a logo. You look at a logo of a famous company, be it Nike, Adidas, whatever you want. The moment you see that logo, everything about that company comes into your consciousness. The mandalas are like those logos. The moment you look at this triangle, a fiery red triangle, the Agni Mandala, the Tejo Mandala, immediately everything related to the fire element comes into your consciousness. Your consciousness is flooded by all the information related to the fire element. The fire element, that is the thermal energy. Now if you look at this, this is related to the Manipura Chakra. So the Manipura Chakra is related to the fire element, and the Tejo Mandala or the Agni Mandala. Now you will find many people, when they talk of the mandala, the Agni Mandala alone, they will put it as an upward pointing red triangle. And they say because fire goes up. Now within the context of the chakra, Manipura Chakra, this mandala is a downward pointing triangle. So it's a downward pointing fiery red triangle. And the reason it is downward pointing here is because the Manipura is the generative principle of creation. Remember, Manipura is your psychic umbilical cord that connects you to the universal mother, Jagat Janani. So it is the principle of birth and creation, not destruction. Birth and creation, the fire of creativity, the burning creativity. You are on fire today. I remember at the World Yoga Festival near London last time, we were in the fire tent and someone said, Dr. Ananda is on fire in the fire tent today. You are on fire. The creativity is just flowing through you. Your Manipura is totally unbound. So this downward pointing triangle is related to the creativity, and the downward pointing triangle is also related to the feminine generative principle. The principle of giving birth. The downward pointing triangle, all ancient cultures have had this symbology. The downward pointing triangle is feminine and gives a connection to giving birth. Now if you come up to the heart center, the Anahata, you have the wind element, Vaayo Mandala. And Vaayo Mandala is two interlaced triangles. It's a smoky blue hexagon, but the moment you say hexagon, what the kids draw is something like a square that has come apart at its ends. It's not a square that's come apart at its ends. It's more like one of these Christmas stars. Imagine a 6-pointed Christmas star in which you put a light bulb and hang it on your porch. This 6-pointed star, similar to the Star of David, is the symbology of Lord Muruga, Shanmukha, who is the ever young god of the Tamil culture. He is called Kumara because he is the young god. This is the heart center which is having two interlaced triangles creating a 6-pointed star. So the 6-pointed star is created by two interlaced triangles. One is the upward pointing triangle, the second is the downward pointing triangle. The upward pointing triangle is masculine nature and the downward pointing triangle is feminine in nature. And no wonder the Anahata is where the masculine and feminine energies come together. They come together. The masculine and feminine energies are coming together at the Anahata, represented by the interlaced triangles creating a 6-pointed star. Now you know what? The Anahata Chakra is related to the Karma Indriya, the action sense, or rather the sense of action, related to reproduction, upastha. When we talk of the Karma Indriyas, the action senses, the senses of action, we say Pada, the feet, locomotion, Pani, the hands, dexterity, Payu, excretion, Vag, communication, and Upastha, which is the sense of reproduction. It is not reproduction itself, it is the sense of reproduction. And where does this come? The heart center, Anahata, where the masculine and feminine energies are coming together, represented by the upward pointing triangle which is masculine, the downward pointing triangle which is feminine. Now you remember at the beginning I said the Sri Chakra Yantra, Sri Yantra, 5 downward pointing triangles, 4 upward pointing triangles. The Sri Chakra is representing how the one becomes the many. How the one becomes the many. That Bindu is the one. When the masculine and feminine energies come together, half the chromosomes from the father, half the chromosomes from the mother come together to form one cell with half of each. The dualities have come into oneness in that one cell. And then that one becomes many. The one becoming many and then is creation. The many becoming one is dissolution. Shrishti, creation, is one becoming many. Sthiti is maintenance of the many. And Laya is the dissolution to go back to the source, retracing your roots from the many to the one. And this is represented in the Sri Chakra Yantra. 4 upward pointing triangles representing the masculine principle, 5 downward pointing triangles representing the feminine principle, and the centermost triangle of the Sri Chakra Yantra is downward pointing triangle with the Bindu in it. And this is the whole creation, which in 3D form becomes the Mahameru. Now you will see that all places of worship in all cultures have been based on a base that goes upward towards a pinnacle. So you need a firm foundation. This is why I say a square is the shape of Tamasika Guna. Tamo Guna is a square because it stays where it has been put. A block. The Rajoguna is a circle. It's like a ball that is in a place that has no friction, constantly moving. But then the Sattva Guna is a triangle. Because the base is firm. The base looks like it is Tamo Guna. That is why somebody sleeping and somebody in deep meditation looks the same externally. They look the same externally because the base is the same. But the base is the same, but where is the energy going? The energy is coming from the many points, the many angles, the many kona, multi-kona, and it is coming together into one which is the unification of all the energies into a one-pointedness, where the sarvartha ekagratayo kshayodayo, the sarvartha, the multiple are becoming one. The all pointed is becoming one pointed. Sarvartha ekagratayo is how that energy is transforming. The transformation of energy. Now, if you look further, so what did I say? You have the Manipura downward pointing triangle. You have the Anahata, which is the two interlaced triangle, and the youthful energy of Lord Muruga. Sharabana Baba Shiva Kumara Shanmuganada Jaya Jaya Shanmuganada Sharabana Baba Shiva Kumara Shanmuganada Jaya Jaya Shanmuganada Shanmuganada Jaya Jaya Shanmuganada Shanmuganada Jaya Jaya Shanmuganada Sharanam Sharanam Shanmuganada Jaya Jaya Sharanam Sharanam Shanmuganada. Beautiful youthful energy of the heart center, where a balance between the masculine and feminine energies has manifested. The manifestation of balance between the masculine and the feminine. Now if you go down to the base of the spine, in the Mooladhara, which is a square, the logo of earth, the Prithvi Mandala, yellow square, if you look at the Mooladhara, inside that you will always find a downward pointing red triangle. Another red triangle is found there. And if you look at this red triangle, in that you will find a 3.5 coil serpent, which is the Kundalini. So again you find a triangle there. Within the square there is a triangle, within which is the stored energy, that unipolar, potent, potential energy called the Kanda Shakti or the Kundalini. And that energy is at the base of the spine, the Kanda. When we are working with all of these asanas that are related to shapes, the Baddha Kona, the Prasarita, what do we call it? Upavishta Kona, the Baddha Kona, the Trikona, the Parshva Kona, in all of this, what are you doing? You are invoking all this energy of the angular energy, the triangular energy. And in many of the practices, we are focusing on the energy being focused towards the apex of the triangle, towards the Kanda. Trying to focus all the energy towards the Kanda, so that you are opening up this potential, you are waking up this potential dormant energy of the Kundalini, that then can travel up the Sushumna Nadi, the central canal, Canalis centralis. And in that central canal, that energy can move up the golden road from the Mooladhara to the Swadhisthana, to the Manipura, to the Anahata, Vishuddha, Ajna, and in the Sahasrara and beyond, into the Brahmarandha, where the consummation of the energy of Kundalini, the Shakti, with the Shakta, which the Shiva, can occur. The higher consciousness can be opened up. The higher perspective opens up. Now, if you look at this, you will find that in Swamiji's teachings in the Gitananda tradition, a lot of emphasis on the Bindus. The Bindu Nadi. Bindu. The Sapta Bindus are there. And in the Bindus, if you look at the Bindu, for example, you have the Bhumadhya Bindu, the midpoint between the two eyebrows, the Bindu Nadi Bindu, and then the inside you have Ajna Bindu. That is in the center of the Ajna Chakra and related to the hypothalamo-pituitary axis. And there you create a triangle between Bhumadhya, the Bindu Nadi, and your Ajna Bindu. You create a triangle. There is another triangle between the Ajna Bindu, the Bindu Bindu, and your Aprakasha Bindu. And up here you have the Trikoti Bindu. So you have this triangle, and this triangle. And all of these triangles coming together. 3 triangles coming together. So what do you have? You again have that 9. And it is called the Adi Kona Bindu. Adi Kona Bindu. Which is the pyramidal energy that lies inside your head. Everybody is running around wearing pyramids on the head to activate the consciousness. Your head itself is your pyramid. You don't need an external pyramid, okay? Your head itself is already a pyramid to activate your consciousness if just you started focusing on it. And everybody's wearing these dunce caps, pyramids, and sitting for pyramidal meditation. And going and sitting inside a pyramid because someone said if you put a dull razor blade, a blunt razor blade in a pyramidal structure, it will become sharp. And so if you put yourself in a pyramid, you will also go from blunt, dull to sharp, bright. So everybody wants to brighten themselves. And they want an external agency to do it for them. They want to outsource it. We want to outsource all our responsibilities to somebody else. But we want to have the benefits. Nature says, you fools, you need a spank. You need a big spank. You don't outsource your responsibilities. You have to insource them. That's why someone said, yoga is not a workout, it's a work in. Beautiful statement. I've heard it through Dr. Indu Arora. What a wonderful human being she is, a true healer. Bringing together yoga, Ayurveda, and what beautiful teaching she gives, Indu. Through her I heard this. I'm not too sure exactly whose statement it is. Yoga is not a workout, it's a work in. You are not outsourcing, you are insourcing. You are taking up the responsibility, you are realizing you are the pyramid. When you sit in Padmasana, Sukhasana, Padmasana, any of this, you are creating your own pyramid with the whole body. The whole body becomes a pyramid. Kona, multiple konas coming together. What is a pyramid? Multiple konas coming together. You yourself are the pyramid, and then your head is also another pyramid. And you are starting to focus within. And at that point, all these angular energies, triangular energies within you, they start to move from being blunt to becoming sharp. You are sharpening your own energy structure, your own energy matrix is being sharpened by the body position, the breath work, the way you breathe. You remember when we do Sukhapurvaka Pranayama? First you have parallel lines, in and out. You could even call it a straight line. Just in and out, up and down. Okay. You then have the Loma Pranayama, a triangle. You have the Viloma Pranayama, another triangle, the upward pointing triangle, the downward pointing triangle, and then Sukhapurvaka Pranayama, the square, and within the square you understand that all of these are already there. When you do the Sukhapurvaka Pranayama, you are sharpening your energy matrix. When you sit in Padmasana, Vajrasana, Sukhasana, Bhadrasana, you are sharpening your energy matrix. And then you start to focus on the Bindu. You do the Bindu Dharana. You do the Prana Kriya to work on the Agya Bindu. And by default you work through the Bhru Madhya also. You do Dharmikasana for the Bindu Nadi. You do Supta Vajra for the Bindu Bindu. Through Pranayama you are working on the Aprakasha Bindu. And then through the contemplation of the energies moving up and down your spine, you are starting to focus on the Trikoti Bindu through which you have to live. The last breath should go through the Trikoti Bindu. It is the escape center. You are doing Bindu Dharana. Your Dharana is becoming Dhyana, is becoming Samadhi in Samyama. As my dear Kaustubh was telling Shailaja in her Friday evening session yesterday. That flow of Samyama from Dharana to Dhyana to Samadhi, is occurring. You are focusing. So your body has been put into a triangular pyramidal structure. The Kona has come alive in you physically. Your breathing is starting to have that multi-dimensional, multi-perspective use of the breath to perceive and enhance your understanding of prana. You are not elongating prana. People say, oh, pranayama is to elongate prana. Prana is already filling the whole universe. Who are you? Now, you small egotistical idiot, who are you to expand the prana? What an ego trip. Pranayama expands. I am expanding prana by pranayama. No. You are expanding your awareness. Your awareness was so limited because you were never breathing. You never knew what prana is. Now you are expanding, you are enhancing your awareness of what prana is. Pranasya ayama pranayama. That ayama is not expanding the prana, it is expanding your awareness of the prana. And what is happening? Your energy matrix is becoming sharp. Just as that dull, blunt razor blade put in a pyramid becomes sharp, you are sharpening your energy matrix, and it is being done by insourcing, not outsourcing. No wearing pyramids and sitting in pyramids and dressing up like a pyramid. I just love all these costume parties that people do. Oh my God. At Yoganjali Natyalayam, when we work with the kids, we have yoga fancy dress competitions. And the kids dress up with, the different yogic concepts. It's amazing what they come up with. I tell you, the kids are amazing, and the parents, oh my God, I salute our parents who put so much of energy into this. And you have kids, dressed up in yogic diet with vegetables and fruit hanging all over. And then you have, kids dressed up in the Ardhanarishwara concept, half Shiva, half Parvati, the energies. They dress up as lotuses and sit in Padmasana. Dress up as a tree and stand in Vrikshasana. Dress up as a lion and go to Simha Nada Kriya. Yeah, they do all of that. What fun! It has to be fun for the kids. You don't say sit there and meditate. The kid will not come back to the second class. Kids have to get hooked onto yoga for life, okay? They have to get hooked onto yoga for life. And it's not about your business, okay? It's about them getting that feel of yoga, and once they get it, they'll never lose it. My kids, my beautiful kids at Yoganjali will never lose the feeling of yoga because of it. That's beautiful when kids do it. But then you see these adults who are taking themselves so seriously, wearing pyramids on their head, dressing up as pyramids, and they have, one of these tents, and they're sitting it. I'm in my meditation tent, pyramidal tent with my pyramid on my head and looking like a joker in a circus. The circus of spirituality with all the clowns in it. You don't need external agencies to sharpen your energy matrix. You need to work on yourself. Yoga starts when you start to work on yourself. Halloween yoga in party. Thank you, dear. You gave me a good belly laugh with that. All of this is based on understanding that every structure has energy. And every angle is a new perspective. Every angle is a new perspective. Your Drishti Kona, your perspective, your angle of perspective, your point of perspective is being enhanced. It's like a pie chart. If you look at a pie chart basically has all these pies which are basically trikonas in their own way. And all those small pieces are coming together in a wholesomeness. That is why when one focuses on the shape in which you put the body, the shape in which you breathe, the shape in which you think, what you are doing is that you are attuning yourself to the energy matrix that is brought to life by the shape, because the shape is the logo. It is the symbol of the collective unconscious, subconscious, which is the energy itself. You are connecting through the body, the soma, to the psyche, the mind and above. The yogic view of psyche is mind and above, not just the mind. Mind and above. It goes all the way up to Purusha. You are using the soma to affect the psyche. Somatopsychic exercise, if you want to call it exercise. For the body, the breath, the mind, and the consciousness itself. So when we understand what a kona is, it is an angle, it is a cone, it is a perspective. What is a cone? It is made from the point of your perspective. When you look out, you create a cone. The cone is created from the point where you are. That point where you are creates your perspective. Drishti Kona. How do you change it? Well, trying to think your way out of it is troublesome. Thinking your way out of it is troublesome. So what do? You work your way out of it. Using the body, putting the body into all these konas. Trikona, Parshva Kona. As I said, Parivratta. You twist that angle also to get another perspective. You stretch it, extend it. Prasarita. Prasarita, Parivratta, Trikonasana. What an amazing. You are elongating, you are twisting and going into the angle. And then you come to the Baddha Kona. And all of these practices, if you look at it, are working on amazing areas of your cortex. Because your cortex has something called sensory motor homunculus. This is a topic worth another Saturday. And this is where your sensations are taken from the body to the brain. And all the motor impulses from the brain come to the body. Sensory motor homunculus on either side. And this sensory motor homunculus has areas. So your toes, you're hanging by your toes from up here. Your head is about down here. So by your toes, you're hanging upside down. So, and your hands are here. So when you connect your hand to the same leg, you are connecting this and this. When hand to leg, hand to foot. Okay, Trikonasana, for example. And then when you do the opposite side, what you have done? Parivarta. Now this hand is coming to this and this hand is coming here. What you are doing is you are crisscrossing through these, you are crisscrossing your whole cortical structure of the brain, connecting different points. Sometime back I created a workbook where I give images of different asanas and I ask the students, here's the sensory motor homunculus in the brain, join the components, join the points that are coming together when you do this. When you do Baddha Kona, these two corners are coming together, your two soles of the feet. And now if you bring your hand to the sole, you're connecting this and this at the same time, you're doing this and this. And then you cross your hands. So your right hand catches your left ankle, left hand, right ankle. And the moment you do this, what you have done, this is connecting to this and this is to this. You have just created an amazing crisscross of angular energy in your cortical structure, the soma, that then sets up this energy pattern in the psyche, and bingo, you have started to open up your connection to your own energy matrix. The energy matrix of yoga. When we think of this, we are going so deep in these concepts. And that is why Trikona Asana, triangle. The triangle is an amazing symbol of humanity because it represents the Trinity. The Trinity has come into different cultures in so many ways. We have Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. We have Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. Shrishti, Sthiti, Laya. And then the Father, the Son and the Holy Ghost. You have so many of these trinities brought out. The Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, past, present and future. And that is why we say, Triguna Tita, going beyond the Trigunas. Tridosha Tita, going beyond the Tridoshas. All of these, wherever the number 3 is coming, you have a energy structure of the 3, which is the energy of manifestation. Whenever we are doing these practices, we are working with energy. Yoga practices. Doesn't matter if it is asana, pranayama, mudra, bandha, dharana, dhyana. Remember, all of this is part of yoga. All of this is working on energy. Yoga is not just for the body and not just for the mind. It is to connect us, especially Hatha Yoga. All aspects of Hatha Yoga are working with energy. Don't let anybody call you, say, oh, Hatha Yoga is physical exercise. Punch them in the nose. Be the non-violent yogi and punch them in the nose. No. A psychic punch maybe, but even that is not allowed by Patanjali. Hatha Yoga exercises. The physical yoga, I'm like, you guys have no idea what you are missing out. You have no idea what you are missing out. Hatha Yoga is the physical science of balancing the equal and opposite energies. The equal and opposite energies that are there. And yes, Trayambakam, the third eye. You have two eyes for two-dimensional perspective. Well, we create three-dimension. You then have the other eye which goes vertically. Trayambaka. Suddenly a new perspective is opened up. A new dimension is opened up into your consciousness. It transforms you. The fire of transformation. Trayambaka, the three-eyed one. And the third eye is the eye of transformation because it is coming from a higher state of wisdom. It is taking a new perspective and suddenly everything is different. Everything is different. Trayambakam yajamahe, as it is said. There is just so much. And we are missing so much because we have limited yoga practices to just being some physical exercises. They are working with energy. They are working with energy. And when we start to use the body, the breath, the mind in a responsible manner, we start to open up to the energy matrix of yoga. And the energy matrix of yoga is the most amazing aspect of yoga sadhana. That then enables you to connect with energy itself, as Albert Einstein put it. Energy is equal to mass speeded up to the square of the speed of light. Mass, stula, speeded up to the square of the speed of light. How do you do it? By the consciousness. When you apply your mindfulness, your consciousness into your practice, the gross, the stula, becomes the sukshma, and you can connect to the karana. That is what we need to be doing. That is what yoga is about. Yoga is not a keep fit exercise. Nah. It's weird. And before I end today, this modern tendency that I'm finding all over the world, and now it's coming to India also. Yoga and pranayama. Yoga and pranayama. For God's sake, on which planet do you live? Yoga and pranayama. Yoga and meditation. Please understand, pranayama is part and parcel. It is an integral component of yoga sadhana. Don't say, you say asana and pranayama if that's what you mean. I had someone who contacted me and they said, I want to do research in yoga and pranayama. I said, I'm not interested to even talk to you. I said, if you don't even, if you can't even understand what yoga is, you say yoga and pranayama, as if pranayama is separate from yoga. And yoga and meditation. Oh my God. Dhyana is the heart of yoga. Samyama, dharana, dhyana, samadhi is the most important component. The whole Vibhuti Pada is based on samyama, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. And how people, oh my God, yoga and pranayama, yoga and meditation. I don't think they'll ever say yoga and asana because for them, asana and yoga have become synonymous. Let's break this chain. Let's break this chain of ignorance. Let's break the chain of ignorance. The shackles of ignorance that are making people, even in the birthplace of yoga. In India, recently I found an Indian government statement on this. Pathetic. Wherever I am, I try to talk about it. In meetings, I talk about it. On the net, I talk about it. In my writings, I talk about it. Please keep sharing this. And for God's sake, at least in my presence, never, 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 never say yoga and pranayama or yoga and meditation. Please. Pranayama is an integral component of yoga. Dhyana, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Because all three are part of the antaranga, that samyama. Please. Do not create separation. We don't want the yoga. We want the yoga. Thank you for putting up with me once again today. And it's such a pleasure to have all of you with me every week on Saturdays. We are getting close to our 50 session mark. Next month, sometime around Yoga Day, I think we are going to hit that. So that's a long time to be with me, okay? A long time to put up with me, a long time to be with me, and I appreciate so many of you who every week you are there with me. And having you on the other side and seeing your name come up, your comments come up, your image come up, I tell you, it gives me a beautiful joy, and I feel more and more like sharing, because sharing is caring. And we as a human being, we must care enough to share. We need to be careful, filled with care, full of care, not careless. We have become a careless race. We care less about everything except our goddamn ego. I'm sorry, but sorry for swearing. But seriously, our ego has, what is our ego? You expand your perspective and you realize this ego is plastic trash. It is plastic trash, and we have put it on the pedestal. Yoga is yoga is yoga, our beloved Mother Yoga, our divine Mother Yoga. Let us be grateful to her. Let us be worthy of her grace. And let us keep caring and sharing. Namaste, Dhanyavadaha. Thank you so much. Om Loka Samastam Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. Om Dhanyavadaha. Grazie. Merci. Nandri. Vanakkam.